Hey there. Welcome to Watch Recap, and today, I will recap an action, crime movie called Project Gutenberg. Okay, so let's start. Lee Mann and his girlfriend Ewan lives in Vancouver as painters. Ewan creates original paintings, while Lee make replicates of original paintings made by famous artists. Lee is extremely talented at this and can replicate any type of painting with every minute detail. However, the dealers are not interested in his replicated paintings, as they cannot display a replica in their showrooms no matter how real it looks. One evening, Lee returning home overhears Yen's manager telling her to leave Lee if she wants to be successful. But Ewan asks him to leave as she will never leave Lee. After a lot of struggle, both of them manages to place their paintings in an art show where their paintings are displayed for the guests to see. Many guests appreciate Yen's work, but none of them likes Lee's paintings. One guest, named the artist, even calls Lee's paintings fake and insults him. Ewan gets mad at him for this and asks him to leave. Lee follows the man to apologize but instead finds out that the artist did all of this on purpose so they can talk in private. He says he recognizes Lee's talent for counterfeit art and praises his accuracy. They go to a bar and over a drink the artist tells Lee that he loves replica paintings and also has a job for Lee that can change his life. After this, Lee goes back to the art gallery and burns the painting that was insulted by the artist. He feels satisfied after this, and the next day he agrees to work for the artist. But when Lee asks what he wants him to replicate, the artist takes out a $100 bill. It turns out he's planning to make a lot of fake money which can't be recognized. Since they cannot just print the money, he wants Lee to draw money so real that no one can call it fake. At first, Lee refuses to do anything illegal, but realizing that he will make so much money by this, he agrees to do this. He returns home that day, and sees Ewan leaving the house. She has decided to leave him as what he did in the gallery cost her a lot of money. Later, Lee joins the artist and his team on a private plane flying to Thailand. Lee still plans to go back to Canada and get Ewan back after making some money, of course. The team consists of a printing plate specialist, Mr. Yam, a color theory expert, and two people who manage security and sales. The new 1996 US $100 bill features the Duplessis version of Franklin's portrait that is enlarged by 50%, resulting in more precise details on it. So now, even if they use the best commercial printer, the result will not be the same and as precise as the original one. Moreover, there is a microprint on Franklin's collar on the bill that says the United States of America, and a commercial printer can never print with this much details. So that's what Lee have to do, as he can paint the bills better than the printer itself. Also, the bills are made of scratch-free papers that turns the black ink of the counterfeit pen into yellow, indicating that the bill is real. The artist still needs to find a way to get some scratch papers, but until then he wants Lee to work hard on the painting process. For the next few weeks, Lee paints the $100 bill with absolute accuracy, without missing a single detail. But to print the watermark and pass the counterfeit security check is still a difficult task for them. So for this, they are going to use a Chinese painting method, where the real painting is sandwiched between two papers that are pressed to make the middle layer stand out. Mr. Yam then handles the printing process. He uses his skills to make a printing plate that paints with 0.010 of a millimeter precision. Upon testing, they see that there are no moire effects, which means they are successful. After this, the artist finds a way to obtain scratch paper, which is the most important. They travel to Eastern Europe to a phonebook manufacturing company, because this factory uses scratch papers that is 3 times the width of a $100 bill to manufacture phonebooks. The width is perfect for the sandwich process, so they buy a huge set of scratch papers from them, pretending to be a comic book company. They import the papers and starts making fake money that looks identical to real bills. They sell it through an antique shop to wholesalers and are very careful with their business. After 6 months of working with the artist, Lee returns to Vancouver to return a key to Ewan, but refuses to meet her and leaves the key on her desk. The artist calls him a coward for this, which slowly creates an argument between the two. To prove his bravery, the artist brings out his gun and goes to do a robbery on a police car all of a sudden. Left with no choice, Lee have to help him, but he can't shoot anyone out of fear. By the end of the unplanned robbery, all of the policemen are dead and Lee is left shocked. He begins to realize that his boss is not just greedy, but a cruel human, and Lee joined him just to paint, not to kill anyone. Then we are introduced to a counterfeit bill expert in the police named Wing. He is called to Hong Kong from Canada because the department has found a sudden rise of fake currency all around the world. Wing meets the head of the Hong Kong police, Inspector Ho. They start their undercover mission by posing as people who wants to buy fake currency. They meet a lot of brokers and finally are allowed to meet the artist at a boat party. But unfortunately their plan doesn't work. The painter has sent his brokers in his place. They test Wing in many ways and concludes that he is not an informer. One day, Lee comes and says he doesn't want to be a part of the team anymore. But still, he promises that he will find a way for their business to keep going even after he leaves. The artist allows him to do whatever he wants without asking a question. We then see the team flying to different places, selling their money at an international level. The demand for their fake bills are high, and so are their profits. A Thai crime boss, the general, is willing to pay a very high amount for a deal with them, so he calls the artist and his team to his place for a business meeting. But it turns out that the general killed the artist's father long ago, and the artist is not here for business, but to kill the general. He commands Lee to trigger the explosives on his jackets, but a scared Lee couldn't do it. In a moment, a car explodes, and a conflict arises between the two groups. Everyone from the general's team is killed, except their counterfeit money expert named Sarah. She was about to die catching the fire, but was saved by Lee. After they leave, she is taken care of and is invited to the team because of her skills. Lee takes care of her and the two become friends. The artist also gives Sarah a fake ID with the name Yuan after Lee's ex-girlfriend. After this incident, the team takes a 1-year break from the business. During this time, Lee and the artist returns to Vancouver to meet Yuan and impress her again. But by now, she has become a famous painter and have sold hundreds of her paintings. However, things get even worse when they find that her manager is now her husband. The artist wants Lee to fight for his love, but Lee doesn't want any of that. They later get on a yacht, on their way to a business meeting with a man who is no one else but the undercover policeman Wing. But the artist knows about him, and he also found that the police only got a hint about their fake bills business because Mr. Yam did a mistake and bought a watch with the fake money. As per the rules, they will kill Mr. Yam and his whole family. Mr. Yam begs for his family, but the artist shoots him dead. And when Lee gets mad at him for this, he knocks him out with a punch. After this, the team meets Wing, who is unaware that everyone here knows his true identity. And once they have Wing in a closed room, the artist asks Lee to kill Wing, but Lee refuses, so the artist had to do the job himself. To help Lee get over his fear of killing, the artist has kidnapped Yuan and her husband. The artist hands him a gun and asks him to kill them, as it's easier to kill people who you hate. But Lee refuses again. The artist gets mad at him and kills Yen's husband himself, but Lee somehow manages to save Yuan. Sarah knows that Lee will also be killed after this, and so she attacks everyone to save Lee as he also saved her life before. Sarah kills every member in the conflict, and Lee finally kills the artist. Sarah makes him let go of Yuan and brings him to a resort that the artist had bought for them. They get to know that the artist is still alive as the police never found his body. Lee also finds that Yuan is about to organize a memorial for her late husband. Lee thinks that the artist will be there to kill her, so he can find Lee. Sarah begs him not to go, but he leaves anyway. But on his way, he mistakenly uses the fake money, and so is arrested by the police. He is then taken to Hong Kong, where Inspector Ho interrogates him. Lee doesn't say a word, as he thinks the artist will kill him if he reveals anything to them. Few days later, Yuan comes to meet him and convinces him to help the police. They make a deal that they will release Lee into witness protection for giving them information about the artist. After that, Lee starts to tell them everything, starting from his past, and how he met the artist, how they made fake money, when he saw a murder for the first time, and many more things. After revealing everything to them, He also helps them to make sketches of the last two members of the team, Sarah and the artist. By the end of this, Lee Ewan are sent to a hotel with security outside. The police immediately start searching for the artist as now they have a picture of him. But then, Inspector Ho notices the artist disguised as a police officer in the police headquarters itself. She with her team arrests the man and holds him down, but they find that this man has always been a policeman and is not the artist at all. It is weird as this guy is shown to be the artist from the very beginning, but actually this policeman was the guy who helped Inspector Ho to bring Lee from Hong Kong to Thailand, when he was arrested using the fake money. Lee saw his face on their way and remembered it. A flashback reveals that Lee is actually the artist himself. He created the artist in his mind to escape the reality where he is a horrible person. Every time he was getting scared seeing the artist committing a crime, Lee was the one who was actually doing it. He was the one who killed Mr. Yam for his mistake. He was the one who also killed Yen's husband. Furthermore, the girl who came to convince Lee to help the police to arrest the artist was not Ewan, but Sarah, who got a plastic surgery to look like Ewan because she fell in love with Lee. And while police is trying to figure out what is happening here, both Lee and Sarah have escaped from the hotel after killing the guards. We then see the couple together in bed. Sarah is sad as she is a replica of Ewan, not the real Ewan, and will always be a second option for Lee. She asks if Lee loves Sarah or just the face she have now. Lee admits he only loves the real Ewan and not her. Next morning, they get on a boat and runs away from Hong Kong. But then, Sarah reveals that they are just driving in a circle and not going anywhere. As she wants to kill Lee and herself too, in order to end this miserable life. The police arrives there, but before they could arrest them, the boat explodes and the two dies right away. In the last scene, Inspector Ho goes to see the real Ewan to inform her that her fiancé's killer has died, but when Ewan looks at the picture of Lee, she explains he was just her neighbor long ago. It is then revealed that Lee even fantasized his whole relationship with Ewan while in reality, he was just her neighbor. This is where the movie ends. Subscribe to the channel if you love movies, like and share the video, we appreciate it. See you again.